I used to think my brown eyes were just brown, unremarkable, genetic background noise. But the morning I learned that the color of my iris is a direct biological record of my ancestors, survival decisions made thousands of years before I was born, I stood at my bathroom mirror for a very long time. What if your eye color isn't decoration? What if it's a message? A biological archive written in pigment, light, and evolutionary pressure? What if the thing people notice first about you is actually your body's most honest autobiography? Today we're going inside the human eye, past the surface you see in photographs, into the cellular machinery that decided, long before you existed, exactly how the world would see you. This is what your eye color is really saying about you. Your eye color begins with a single gene, but not the single gene most people were taught about in school. For decades, textbooks presented eye color as a simple dominant recessive inheritance, brown beats blue, end of story. The truth is almost embarrassingly more complex. At least 16 different genes contribute to iris pigmentation, scattered across multiple chromosomes, each adjusting the output of one critical cell, the melanocyte. These cells don't produce color. They produce melanin, a pigment so ancient it predates complex animal life by hundreds of millions of years. Melanin first evolved in single-celled organisms as protection against ultraviolet radiation. The same molecule now giving your eyes their color once helped microscopic life survive. The early sun, your iris isn't just a color. It is a UV defense system, 500 million years in the making. Here is something that will change how you see blue eyes forever. Blue irises contain almost no blue pigment. None. Technically, zero. What you're seeing when you look into blue eyes is the same optical effect that makes the sky blue, the Tyndall effect, or in some explanations, Rayleigh scattering. Short blue wavelengths of light scatter, more than long red wavelengths, when they pass through a low-density medium. In a blue eye, the stroma, the tissue layer just behind the iris surface, contains very little melanin. Light enters, the long wavelengths pass through and are absorbed. The short blue wavelengths scatter back outward. You don't see blue pigment, you see blue physics. The implication is startling. Blue eyes do not technically have a color. They have an optical behavior. Every blue-eyed person you've ever known has been producing an illusion, and doing it perfectly, every single day. All humans alive 10,000 years ago had brown eyes. Every single one. Blue eyes do not appear in the fossil or genomic record before approximately 8 to 10,000 years ago. And when they do appear, they trace back to a single individual, one person, carrying a specific mutation on chromosome 15 in the OCA2 gene region. Every blue-eyed person alive today is a direct genetic descendant of that one mutation event. Green eyes arrived later still, through separate mutations in HER2 and related genes, appearing most densely in populations, along ancient migration corridors, through Central Asia and the Caucasus. Your eye color is not random variation. It is a genealogical signature, a specific chapter of human migration history, expressed in the tissue of your face. When you make eye contact with someone across a room, you are reading a piece of their ancestral journey without knowing it. Your iris is not static. It changes, continuously, measurably, and in ways that carry genuine medical significance. Iridology, the alternative practice of diagnosing disease through iris markings, is not scientifically supported, but iris change itself is real and well documented. Infant eyes frequently shift color in the first 18 months of life as melanocyte activity. Increases after birth. In adulthood, certain medications, particularly prostaglandin analogs used in glaucoma treatment, can permanently darken a light iris by stimulating melanin production. More significantly, a study in the journal Behavioral Ecology found that human iris patterns change detectably with emotional arousal. Your pupil dilates under attraction and fear. Yes, but the iris musculature itself subtly restructures. The eye you show someone in a moment of genuine feeling is not identical to the eye you show them when nothing is at stake. Your iris remembers emotional states. It adjusts. The relationship between eye color and pain sensitivity is one of the most surprising findings in modern anesthesiology research. A series of studies, including research published in the journal Pain, found that women with dark eyes required significantly more anesthesia during childbirth than women with light eyes to achieve equivalent pain control. Light-eyed individuals also appear to have higher tolerance for experimental cold pressor pain. The proposed mechanism involves melanin in the central nervous system. Melanin is present not just in eyes and skin, but in specific neurons of the substantia, nigra and locus coeruleus, brain regions deeply involved in dopamine production and pain modulation. More melanin in these neurons may affect how pain signals are processed. The color you see in a person's eyes may faintly reflect the neurological architecture determining how much they feel. It is an uncomfortable thought, but the data exists. In dim light, dark eyes and light eyes behave fundamentally differently, and this difference was likely a survival variable for our ancestors. In low light conditions, blue and green irises allow more light to enter the pupil because the iris itself is less optically dense. Research suggests light-eyed individuals have measurably better dim light visual performance. This may explain the geographic clustering of light eyes across northern European populations that lived for millennia under long, dark winters and cloud-covered skies. More ambient light transmission through the iris meant better hunting, better navigation, better survival in low UV, low-light environments. Dark eyes, conversely, offer superior visual performance in high-intensity sunlight by reducing glare and optical scatter. The eye color of every person you meet is, at one level, a calibration decision made by 10,000 years of ancestors living in specific light environments. They optimized for their world. You inherited the result. There is one final thing your eye color is doing that almost no one talks about. Your iris pattern. Not just the color, but the detailed texture of it, the crypts, the furrows. The radial striations is more unique than your fingerprint. No two irises are identical, including the two in your own head. The right and left iris of the same person are as different as those of two strangers. This uniqueness is established entirely before birth, during fetal development, through a chaotic process of random cellular differentiation that even identical twins do not share. In 1994, the United States Department of Defense began adopting iris recognition as a biometric identifier more reliable than DNA for rapid field identification. The pattern in your eye was generated randomly, cannot be predicted by any gene, and will never be repeated. It is the universe's most elaborate proof that you, specifically, have never existed before and will never exist again. Your eye color holds your ancestors' geography, your nervous system's architecture, your pain tolerance, your vision strategy in the dark, and a structural signature so unique it surpasses fingerprinting. All of it written in melanin, light physics, and the random choreography of cells dividing before you could think or feel. If this is the kind of science that makes you look at your own body differently, you're in the right place. True body science exists to take you inside the human body and show you what's actually happening in there, one extraordinary system at a time. Subscribe to True Body Science and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Dr. Ryan. Cross will see you in the next one. And I promise you, wherever we're going next, it will change how you understand yourself. The next time you look someone in the eyes, really? Look, understand that you are reading a biological document older than civilization. The pigment in that iris survived ice ages. It crossed land bridges. It watched populations scatter and merge across continents over hundreds of generations, each generation refining the formula until it produced that exact shade, in that exact pattern, looking back at you, and somewhere in the tissue behind those eyes, a set of neurons fires in a configuration that has never once existed before. Not in 10,000 years of human history, not in any of the 8 billion people alive right now. You are looking at proof of something singular. If that moved something in you, subscribe to True Body Science, Dr. Ryan. Cross. The body is extraordinary. Let's keep going.